Issues amongst the Judgment Day are reaching new heights, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's up with Jade Cargill, Rey Mysterio, and more. Starting things off with Jade Cargill's official arrival to WWE SmackDown. After months of silence following her Royal Rumble debut, the March 29th edition of SmackDown featured Jade Cargill's official full main roster debut on SmackDown. Jade had a brand new electrifying entrance, and one of her main catchphrases right off the bat is how a storm is coming, and how she's that storm. Some fans think this is a reference and could be also inspired by the Marvel X-Men character Storm, who Jade Cargill is a big fan of and has cosplayed in years past. Jade Cargill has even said she'd like to play a live-action version of Storm if the opportunity ever presented itself. So it's nice to see some of those Storm elements in her WWE presentation. Jade Cargill complimented the SmackDown women's roster, saying it was the best in the world, but that no one back there was once-in-a-lifetime star like Jade Cargill. And right after that promo from Jade was over, we got one of the first big hints that Jade wasn't exactly done for the night. Damage CTRL gets interviewed backstage, and Dakota Kai instantly takes a shot at Jade Cargill, saying that Jade isn't doing anything besides just standing there. Fast forward later in the night, and we get to Bianca Belair versus Dakota Kai. Bianca picks up the win over Dakota Kai, but then we see something we've seen in a lot of recent weeks, and that's Damage CTRL all coming in to attack one single person. Naomi makes the big save for Bianca Belair, but it's still not enough, and Damage CTRL gains the advantage thanks to their numbers. The crowd starts chanting for Bayley to come out and make the save for the second week in a row, but Bayley still doesn't come out. And Bayley was shown earlier in the night attacking Io Sky, so we know she probably was busy, but it was still a pretty strange look for Bayley's character for that second week in a row. Bayley didn't even make an attempt to save Bianca and Naomi. We know Bayley isn't doing it out of mean intent, but it's just something that Bianca Belair could throw in Bayley's face next time they talk. She can definitely bring up how Bayley has never even attempted to save anyone from Damage CTRL's attacks, and technically, that's true. So that's a very weird element to this story, because you feel like Bayley should definitely pay the favor back to Naomi and show Bianca that she's a changed person by saving them. But she's yet to do that. We'll see if that changes in the near future. But since Bayley didn't make the save, out comes the newly signed Jade Cargill to make the save for Naomi and Bianca Belair. And everything here about this save does make sense and checks out perfectly. Jade has just signed to SmackDown earlier in the night and was looking for a fight. And on top of that, Dakota Kai did throw that jab at Jade Cargill during that backstage interview. So that was some motive right there for Jade to look into coming after Damage CTRL. And also not to mention that Jade Cargill is close friends with Bianca Belair and Naomi. So just everything about the save makes sense and works from all those different perspectives. But Jade Cargill comes out and helps balance out the odds against Damage CTRL and stands tall with Naomi and Bianca Belair. And shortly after SmackDown went off air, it was confirmed that Jade, Naomi, and Bianca will be teaming up to take on Damage CTRL at WrestleMania in a 6-woman tag team match. Like we've been discussing in recent weeks, WrestleMania 40 appears to be the event that Damage CTRL will just absolutely implode at. And this new tag team match that was just announced appears to be confirmation that the group will be taking another big loss at WrestleMania. There's no way at all that Jade Cargill loses her first WWE debut match at WrestleMania. So it's pretty much a lock already that Jade Cargill's team will be victorious at WrestleMania. And if Bayley wins and defeats Io Sky at WrestleMania 40 in their match as well, you'll be talking about literally every single Damage CTRL member suffering a big loss on the WrestleMania stage. That'll definitely negatively affect the group's morale to the max. That WrestleMania win will be huge for Jade, Naomi, and Bianca for all major different reasons. For Jade Cargill, it'll be her first overall WWE victory and first win on the WrestleMania stage. For Naomi, It'll be her big return to the WrestleMania stage and her first win at Mania since 2022. And for Bianca Belair, the win will improve Bianca to a perfect 4 wins, 0 losses stat sheet for WrestleMania. It'll also be important to see who scores the pinfall for their team in that match. It seems like the pinfall honors should surely go to Jade Cargill, since it's her first official WWE match. No better way to make a statement than picking up a big win at WrestleMania. And you also have to wonder if this win over Damage CTRL will put Jade, Naomi, and Bianca in the #1 contender spot for the women's tag team titles. And maybe that causes a little conflict amongst the trio, because obviously they can't all challenge for the women's tag team titles. So maybe 2 out of the 3 will go after Damage CTRL in the tag team titles in the weeks after WrestleMania. Speaking of the demise of top WWE factions, it looks like another group could be suffering some major losses at WrestleMania, and that's the Judgment Day. The arc that the Judgment Day has been on lately hasn't been a positive one at all. They went from having perfect communication with each other, having no leader and ruling equally, to now having a power struggle between Rhea and Damian. Communication is being messy, secrets being held from each other, which only sounds like a recipe for disaster that's looming in the distance. Santos Escobar came out to say that he made a phone call to Dominic Mysterio regarding needing some help against Rey, and Dom accepted. Dominic came out by himself to accept Santos' gratitude and said that he'll never pass up an opportunity to get back at his deadbeat dad. Rey came out to challenge Dominic and Santos to a tag team match at WrestleMania, and they accepted. But we cut back to the Judgment Day, and they get a bit frustrated because they had no idea that Dominic was working with Santos, and they had no idea that Dominic was even going to go out there with Santos on SmackDown. So just massive miscommunication and confusion amongst the group. And keeping that same theme going, Damian Priest shared a very cryptic message to the group, saying that WrestleMania 40 will be an important one, not for the group together per se, but for themselves as individuals, which appears to be a clear reference and tease to the idea of Damian Priest having his eye set on cashing in at WrestleMania to give himself the biggest individual prize there is to win in the company, and that's a WWE World title. Rhea Ripley asked Damian Priest if he had anything to share with her about what he meant by that, but he said no, which also appears to be confirmation that Damian is not sharing his thoughts and plans of cashing in at WrestleMania with the rest of the group. He's keeping that a secret to himself, which you could definitely argue is a bit dumb, because if you had that much faction members surrounding you, obviously you would want to get everyone in on the plan to help raise your chances of having a successful cash-in. But for whatever reason, maybe it's trust issues, maybe he thinks they'll mess it up, Damian Priest just doesn't want to let any of the group members in on his current cash-in plans. Some fans are thinking that the miscommunication and secrets going on amongst the group right now could lead to a very miserable few nights for them at WrestleMania 40. What if Damian and Finn lose the tag team titles, Dominic loses his match, Rhea loses her title, and the final topper to all of that misery would be Damian Priest having an unsuccessful cash-in, because he didn't want to let anyone else in on his cash-in plans and wanted to do it alone. If all the events unfold exactly in that fashion, then yes, it's hard to picture a world where the Judgment Day can just go on normally after that. A big night of multiple losses like that at WrestleMania could lead to a member getting kicked out, or even the complete destruction of the group. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys!